William is back at the point where he would throw somebody out of the room if they brought up the name Harry in his presence. I do know something that Harry wants is some kind of public acknowledgement, on his shopping list of dream scenarios coming back to this country and spending more time here. I think it would be nice, or he would like Charles to in some way acknowledge him or kind of forgive him in public to encourage the rest of the public to do the same.
Developing today, the royal family rocked by allegations from Tina Brown, Princess Diana's close friend and one of the doyens of royal reporting, that King Charles is far more angry with Prince William than he is his youngest son. Now, we're going to get the real story with Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, very shortly. But first, let me take you through Tina Brown's reporting. She writes, "At last, Prince Harry has got it right, which is bad news for the Prince of Wales. After 5 years of exuding wrath and spouting therapeutic gibberish, the Ginger Whinger finally realised that all the royals have to do to win public enthusiasm is to zip around the UK and smile. Watching Harry's high gusto balloon sword fight with a sweetly gratified disabled 9-year-old girl at the Well Child Awards in London, and the dance moves he busted at the Children in Need community recording studio in Nottingham brought a shaft of royal optimism to a country whose national motto should be 'It will be ready in 6 weeks'. As Harry's buoyant photo ops duelled with Prince William and Kate's engagements for press coverage this week, you had to ask, who would you rather hang with? The Tigger-like Duke of Sussex or sober, appropriate William, an infinitely perfect Kate taking tea and cake with a cooing chapter of one of Queen Elizabeth's most beloved but groaningly square charities, the Women's Institute. Probably more fun was to be had at the King's diverting house party at Balmoral, where His Majesty and Camilla entertained such national treasures as glamorous ad-fab fossil Joanna Lumley and rollicking human rights barrister Baroness Helena Kennedy, who kicked over the traces by not conforming to the tartan dress code. Harry's own reset, a positive campaign he hopes will endear him to his still estranged father and a negative British public, came with a new unexpected gambit, a contribution from his own bank account at £1.1 million. It cannily unleashed for William the uneasy question of what exactly the 43-year-old Prince of Wales is doing with the £23 million a year he gets from the Duchy of Cornwall. And she goes on to say, while the British press obsess over the question of a Harry-Charles reunion, getting warmer, or a Harry-William rapprochement, not going to happen, the King is, I am told, currently less irritated with the prodigal Harry than he is with his eldest son and heir. Somehow, William's parenting dedication always seems couched as a tacit criticism of the King's own paternal deficiencies. And after 5 confirmed family vacations in the past 7 months, William's first week back diary pulsated with 2 outings, a father-daughter excursion to a Women's Rugby World Cup pool match, and a stroll through the Natural History Museum's new gardens. Charles, despite his battle with cancer, has carried out official engagements on 175 days during the past 12 months. The past as prelude is the next headline, where she says, after stewing for 5 years as Prince without portfolio in Montecito, it feels as if Harry has got over Meghan's vision of royalty as a version of global celebrity and renewed his vows to the old royal MO of being a messenger of validation. This is what Queen Elizabeth was trying to show the newlywed Duchess of Sussex when she invited Meghan to accompany her on her first outing as granddaughter-in-law, not to shine on a glamorous royal red carpet, but to open a 6-lane toll bridge in the town of Chester, near Liverpool. The Queen wore a festive lime green Cat in the Hat trilby, a matching coat and white gloves, and had really been seen having such a good time at a public engagement that wasn't about horses. Now Harry is showing his father that he understands the fulfilling dullness of duty once more and is ready to do the hard work of redemption. But Angela Levin, you have huge issues with this new reporting from Tina Brown, which you say doesn't take into account Catherine's cancer battle and the fact that William has made his priority to live as normal as possible during this period. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
See, I think it's absolutely absurd to take a few things when the king might have been a bit irritable and say, get rid of the other person, this one is fine. If you can't just think of it for the moment, you have to go back. The Queen asked Harry and Meghan not to talk to Oprah Winfrey for the next month or so because the Duke of Edinburgh was extremely ill. He was in hospital and about to die, really. And she didn't want him to be upset. Did they listen? No. The same thing was the last few months when the Queen was extremely ill with cancer in her blood. And Harry would ring up and be awful. He was rude. He was shouting at her. He didn't get what he wanted about a whole load of things. And he didn't care 2 hoots. So you can't just compare someone because they come for a couple of days and start buzzing around and doing everything they can to say anything you can do, I can do better, I can do anything better than you. I think that's what it was really, but not funny. And I also think that you have to allow, because King Charles must be in a lot of pain a lot of the time. He tries very, very hard to work and to go around and to do absolutely everything he can. And he's done an amazing amount of visiting in this last year. But, it stops him a bit because he has got this terribly terrible illness. And you can't compare that with him when he felt lively and very keen on things. You can't do the same thing. You have to understand what's going on with him. And I don't think he's unhappy with William at all, because when he was in hospital with cancer and he would go and see his lovely daughter-in-law all the time and talk to her and be kind and said, take your time, don't rush. It's very important you don't do that. And I think that he would understand that now, that he doesn't expect William to charge around and leave his wife to do a lot of the work at home. He needs to be there. He needs to be a good father, which he is. I mean, for goodness sake, he had such a difficult childhood and upbringing that he now wants to be a good husband and a good father. And he can't actually do everything. He's done loads, but he doesn't believe in tiny things. And this is what she said, that, Harry doing little bits was so funny and he was so jovial and so nice. He's beaten William by miles, but he doesn't necessarily have to do that because they are small and sweet and quite nice, but he's trying to do big things. When he was at university in Scotland, he decided he didn't want to be king. And one reason he didn't want to be it was he didn't want to have to keep cutting ribbons. And he talked about this a lot with his girlfriend, who we all know, and she helped him to find things that had a real meaning, not to just run around cutting ribbon. And he changed his mind. I believe that she did that, and her parents, because they let him be a real person, and he didn't have to do anything. He had to work things out for himself. And this way he gets a lot of feeling that it's good to help in the earth, in the world. And I think that I would much prefer someone who looked after his children, because you've got the next lot of people. You've got George, you've got him who could be king soon one day, and you want him to be a nice boy who can manage these things. And I think that if you just cut him out and want him to be running about like a lunatic and saying, I'm better than you, that's not a good idea. I think it's completely wrong. I can't understand why it's so unpleasant to do.
And the thing is, Angela, this is clearly taking a toll on William, who thought that he had finally moved away from all of the psychodrama with Prince Harry. His brother had made his decision. He was going to be exiled, and everyone thought, William thought that everyone was with him, and all of a sudden, it's flipped on its head. And so I want to take you through this reporting from Charlotte Griffiths, who is very much pro-Harry now. And this is the headline from the Mail's reporting. If you mention him, he'll throw you out of the room, while William is more determined than ever to cut Harry out of his life, as Charlotte Griffiths reveals how he's been driven to rage by his brother's brazen return plan. And she writes, Prince William has doubled down on his resolve to cut Prince Harry out of his life in the wake of his brother's Clarence House rapprochement with the King. It's been exactly a year since the Sussexes launched Operation Bring Harry Back In From the Cold, and while the Duke's 12-month strategy has come to fruition with his father, he is no longer closer to contact with his brother. Indeed, Harry's success in the UK last week means the future king is burning with a renewed determination to rid the monarchy of the Sussexes for good. Exactly. Good work, William. That's what you should be doing. Here's the well-placed insider telling Charlotte Griffiths, William is back at the point where if you mention Prince Harry in his presence, he would throw you out of the room. He is doubling down. She writes, in reference to what we've just discussed about Tina Brown, that Harry's rapprochement strategy isn't over yet. Next on the Duke's wish list is some kind of public acknowledgement from the King. A source said Harry would one day like his father to encourage the nation to accept him back again. It's what the late Queen did towards the end of her life when she asked the public to accept Camilla as Queen Consort. If Charles could do something along those lines, Harry would have some hope of not being completely exiled for good when William becomes king. While it's hard to guess from the spiteful interviews he's given in recent years, Harry does want back in. Harry reads his own polls. He knows he's one of the least popular royals and wants that to change, says the source. He wants to get back to being one of the most popular. Meghan doesn't care about the UK perception, and that's fine, but Harry does. However, the source adds to Charlotte Griffiths in the Mail, William is more determined than ever to cut Harry off. It infuriates William that Harry has pulled off a 12-month master plan to re-ingratiate himself. Palace aides are said to be anxious that William's doubling down mentality marks a setback for him personally. While for some time now, William's anger had cooled to the point of indifference over his brother, which was healthy for his mental well-being, adds another source. William had got to the stage where Harry was a non-person. He had fallen so far beneath his radar as to have disappeared from his mind altogether. It can't be good that William has gone back to the point where he would throw someone out at the very mention of Harry's name. The phrase non-person was coined by the Queen Mother to refer to people whose name cannot be mentioned by friends or aides in her presence, like that of her brother-in-law Edward VIII, whose abdication forced her and her husband to become king and queen. With Harry a non-person, safely 5,000 miles away in California, people around William felt no need to bring up Harry's name. All of that was shattered by the appearance last week. The source added now Harry is back in the UK, back at Clarence House, back in touch with his father, and back into the subject line of emails. Another source added William originally went through all the stages of grief over his brother. When they first fell out, he went to Balmoral and just went off his food. Just before the Oprah chat screened, he wept. Then he turned to anger, and when that stage was over, he simply compartmentalized it all and moved on. He never expected to regularly be in the same postcode as his brother again like he was last week. So perhaps it is telling Harry has another 2 years to go in the rapprochement strategy, which I revealed in this newspaper a year ago. The early signs came when his UK friends began receiving texts from the prince ahead of his 40th birthday last September. Zoom calls with former royal aides followed. As I reported at the time, Harry was swapping his advisors in Hollywood, who had seemingly done little to rescue his tattered reputation from a more traditional royal team with palace experience and a military background. Harry is turning away from all sorts of Hollywood publicists and is seeking counsel from his old friends and associates. He is clearly reaching out, thinking I need to do something different because what I'm doing is not working. In short, he is rethinking the way he operates. His concerns over the lack of government-issued security, having lost his appeal court case in May against the Home Office's decision to roll back his police protection, is likely to keep Meghan and the children at home. Yet if the chances of his wife attending are small, then the likelihood of his brother accepting an invite is non-existent. But as a source says, Harry has learned this week that playing the long game works. So far, he's been focused on reconnecting with Charles, his charities, the public, and a smattering of old friends. Harry hasn't attempted to try his luck with William yet, but you never know. He's feeling ambitious after this week, and 2 years is a long time in royal politics. Well, Angela Levin, I don't think I've ever read more revolting propaganda than what I've just heard. But first, we've partnered with Gundry MD to share this information with you. Would you believe me if I told you inside your pantry right now is one of the healthiest foods on the planet? Yep, it's true. Not some weird, trendy superfood. Spoiler alert, it's olive oil. You're probably used to cooking with it, but there are countless ways to use olive oil to help yourself look and feel younger. For example, olive oil is a natural way to help you achieve a more youthful appearance. Besides helping you look younger on the outside, it's a fantastic tool for your insides as well. According to Dr. Stephen Gundry, a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, nutrition expert, and health advocate, you should get as much high-quality olive oil into your daily routine as possible, whether it's taking a shot of it daily or keeping a bottle of it in your bathroom medicine cabinet. But what kind of olive oil is best for your health? Well, any olive oil can give you some benefits, but if you're looking to get the best results, it matters a lot which one you pick. The olive oil industry is huge. You can tell by the number of olive oil brands you see at the grocery store, and you can bet they're not all made with the consumer in mind, and many brands may even cut corners one way or another to increase profits. When Dr. Gundry came to this realization, he was appalled. But some olive oils are so powerful, it may only take a few tablespoons a week to see these incredible health benefits. So how can you tell between an olive oil that can be a health booster and which one isn't up to par? In an effort to answer that important question, Dr. Gundry has decided to take a stand and release his personal research and findings. The video has gone viral since its release, and it's important you see it so you can start benefiting immediately. You can watch the video right now by going to getolive1.com/outspoken or by clicking the link in the description box below. So that's getolive1.com/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. People who have taken his advice have shared their results with him, saying the olive oil they bought after learning his simple rules has helped change their lives. So make sure you go to getolive1.com/outspoken or click on the link in the description box below this video. But now, back to the show.
Yeah. Well, first of all, William he's taught himself not to be upset about Harry, to put him out of his life. And you can do that if you make somebody wipe them out of your brain. You can get on, especially if you've got children, because they're very good at helping you feel better. But I don't think that's happening. I don't think that he did so well with his father, the king, because it was just imagination that it's all been wonderful. In fact, it wasn't wonderful at all. Harry insisted that Camilla should not be in the room they were talking about, absolutely insisted. But when he got there, she was there, quite rightly too. She wanted to be there for the king, not for herself, but for the king, so that if Harry said anything rude or dreadful, she could sort of sort it out or actually handle him. Now, that's not actually doing what he wanted. He gave in. And I think that was a very important thing that he did, because he's got nowhere. He couldn't say anything about what he demanded. And I don't think that the king would actually go against his mother's rule, which was you not have one foot in and the other foot out. He would have to either come back and be in the with everybody else in this country, in London, the palace, or just forget it. And I think, in a way, Harry's going to try, and is going to try and bring Meghan back. She wants it just as much as anyone else. She thinks she's much better than her sister-in-law, and she wants to be part of it, but they're not going to listen. So it's not going to happen. So that's all right. And the nonsense saying that perhaps the Queen or the King could actually forgive him because he's coming back and he's been a bit mischievous, but let's be very nice to him. After all, the late Queen allowed Camilla to come back into the royal family there. Now, if you can compare Harry and what he's done for the royal family here, what he said, how disgusting he's been, it's very important. Whereas Queen Camilla has worked incredibly hard. She's not put a foot wrong. She's done so many things for the king, made him so much happier. And without a moan or anything, she's done extremely well. And even Princess Anne, who didn't like her at first and then said she's just changed Charles, he's so much happier and he doesn't get irritable, and she does so much work, and they've now become very good friends. And Princess Anne, as we know, has a very high level of gratitude or disliking, and she now gets on with her very well. And Camilla's not trying to ruin the monarchy. She's not trying to beat anyone else. In fact, you don't actually hear very much about her. She gets on with things quietly, but does masses, particularly behind the curtain. I know several people she's really helped and made their lives happy, but she doesn't try and steal all the attraction to the king, whereas Harry and Meghan would actually always have to be in the front. They do that on Invictus Games, which is appalling. That is now for them and for Meghan to show off. It's not actually for the people who fought battles. And I don't take any notice of it. What does make me wonder is how come all these very intelligent journalists can actually all say the same thing. I counted 6 newspapers where the journalists who I've known for a while, and they've never said this. What is it? Is it the Sussex squad who are sort of shouting at them or offering something? I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense to me that they would go along on that path of seeing some dreadful person who is trying to not do better, but to try and take over and see how clever he is and what he can do, rather than anyone else who's an actual royal at the moment.
Yeah, very interesting, Angela. Great analysis. I just want to show you a little bit more of what Charlotte Griffiths said about these claims, specifically about this idea of King Charles, giving Harry a path back during an appearance on GB News. Watch this.
Well, long story short, I was told this week by somebody who would know that William is back at the point where he would throw somebody out of the room if they brought up the name Harry in his presence. The background to this is that William, of course, when this all kicked off 5-6 years ago, was incensed and full of rage. And at one point, actually, he was very sad and he was grieving for his brother. But then he got to the point for quite a long time now where he was indifferent and he considered Harry what the royal family call a non-person, which was a classic phrase coined by the Queen Mother, which means somebody who just doesn't get mentioned in front of working members of the royal family. They're so beneath contempt that they are just exiled from the conversation, a non-person. Wow. And William was comfortable in this zone, but what's happened now is, of course, Harry's back in the country. Harry's seeing his father. Aides are having to have discussions with William about their events clashing, which has happened all of this week. And of course, William is furious. He's in no mood to repair relations with his brother at all. He would throw somebody out of the room if they mentioned his name. William, they bicker a lot. They do disagree a lot. So I think Charles may well encourage William, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I do know something that Harry wants is some kind of public acknowledgement, on his shopping list of dream scenarios coming back to this country and spending more time here. I think it would be nice, or he would like Charles to in some way acknowledge him or kind of forgive him in public, to encourage the rest of the public to do the same. And this is what the Queen, the late Queen, famously did. Before she died, she basically addressed the nation, and she gave a speech saying, you know, please welcome Camilla as Queen Consort when I'm gone. And that kind of paved the way for what we now do, which is call Camilla the Queen, full stop. And the atmosphere then was Camilla was still completely hated, the nation wasn't behind her at all. But when you have somebody that you really respect, you know, sort of permitting you to like somebody like the Queen did with Camilla and like Charles could do with Harry, that could move him on several steps in his very slow burning quest to re-ingratiate himself with the country. But I mean, unless William turns around and sanctions him, I mean, you know, and permits the country to get behind him when he's king, it's not going to last very long.
I mean, Angela, I honestly believe she's delusional. I think that strategy is completely delusional. I mean, look, with Camilla, Angela, even now, there's a lot of people who still don't forgive her because of the Diana affair. And I mean, we're talking 3 decades on. And with Harry and Meghan, it's like, you ruined the final months of the late Queen's life. You ruined the final months of the late Prince Philip's life. You're now ruining the final month of the current, or not the final months, let me be very careful with what I'm saying. You're ruining the final years of the current reigning king's life. We are not just going to forget that. This is a delusional strategy.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's appalling thing to do. I think Harry's actually worked it out with his new PR team. He's done so much in such a short time of where could he actually show off the most. And they've done all that, including, if it happened, to see the king. And it did happen to see the king, but I don't think he's got anywhere with him. But he's come out and pretending it's wonderful, like he wants his children to come here. Now, hang on, what does Meghan want to do? Does she want her children to be taught in the UK? Are they going to put them in a school that he went to? He told me that he hated school. He decided when he started that he would only mix with the bad boys, and that's what he did. So once you want to bring his children over here to give them an experience of school that he hated for himself. So it's all nonsense. It's all rubbish. And I just think he's doing something for Meghan to please her, to try and show off and see if he gets a lot of money from the king. Because actually, if he's saying he spent 1.1 million for poor children and 370,000 for children in Gaza, he'll want some help, won't he? If he's got the money, then he doesn't need to ask Charles for it. And it's very wrong for a royal to actually mention the exact sum. You mustn't do that. So he's broken that rule. And to try and get money from his father and you know, paying for school as well. Paying for school, paying for have people looking after him 24/7 so that he's safe. But if he goes off to Ukraine, it doesn't matter at all. He can go without anybody. If you take it apart, you can see it just doesn't make any sense. And I know with Charlotte Griffiths that, you know, 2 months ago, she could have been like anyone else, but suddenly she changed straight away about Harry and suddenly thought it was lovely and he was great and everything was wonderful. I don't know why she's done that, but she must have a reason, as all the others do. But actually, I'm sticking to mine and I'm sticking to agree with you, which I'm not doing just because it's you, because I agree with you. And I think it's a terrible thing to do. And she does never finishes it. It could be. He could make it, you know, but I think that he wants to have everything sorted out with his father before William takes over, because he's not going to get anything and then it's going to be really difficult. So hopefully the king carries on for a long time, because this type of cancer he's got, you can, but you never know with that age anyway. But if he's just showing off and helping Meghan become absolutely brilliantly loved with the royal family, She won't take any notice that she said she hated it all this time, because she doesn't hang on to anything. She says one thing that she's going to do, and then tomorrow she's done something else. So we needn't worry about that. I'm sure that's what it is, because she's so jealous of Catherine.
Angela Levin, brilliant analysis from our royal mastermind, Prince Harry and Queen Camilla's biographer, as ever. Thank you, Angela Levin. We will speak very soon. And of course, if you do want first access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show, twice the length of what you've just watched, then please sign up to my Substack. www.outspoken.live is the address. Substack's a really important community for me, actually, because it is one that is focused on free speech. I'm protected there from big tech cancellation and also protected from lawfare. And trust me, I've had to deal with a lot of lawfare from a certain duplicitous duke. I'm sure you know who I mean. You can message me directly on Substack. And it's a really important platform, actually, because we're a little community there. And I really, really love it. So if you like what I'm doing on Outspoken, please do support. You can subscribe, by the way, completely for free. But if you do want that first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show, every single weekday, Monday to Friday, either live or on demand with no advertising whatsoever, which a lot of people love, then please do go for the paid monthly or annual subscription. You just have to enter your email address in the box and away you go. The address, www.outspoken.live. Please do join if you may. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.